Hi, and welcome to a short mobility practice. What we're going to do is CARS, which is an acronym for Controlled Articular Rotations, which basically means joint circles, but with effort and control and intention moving through those ranges of motion. So what you'll need is either a blanket, maybe if you would like to pad your knees a little bit more, if you have any sensitivities there. I have here sitting on top of a couple of cork yoga blocks. Sitting on top of something in this position is definitely helpful, or just elevating your seat with anything that you might have, even if you're in a cross-legged position. You can also start tall kneeling. But you'll want to have something when we go down onto our sides for our hip CARS. You'll want to have something that you can place behind your back, so that way you know if you're shifting too far backward, that thing will fall over. So whatever you grab, just make sure it's not fragile. Or if you grab a cup of some sort, just make sure it's empty. Okay. So we're gonna get started, and we're gonna start with the neck, and we're just gonna go through a couple of these circles in either direction. And if you feel like you need to keep going, you can just pause the video and then move on when you are ready, or you can rewatch this video as many times as you want. Okay, so to start, I want you to feel an engagement throughout your entire body. And we're just gonna close our eyes for a second and start to tune into that mind-body connection. So we're just gonna take a few deep breaths. Take a full breath in through your nose, and a full breath out of your mouth. We'll do two more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last time, breathe in. Breathe out. You can go ahead and blink your eyes back open, or you can keep them closed. It's your choice. Remember, I'm on the screen at any point for you to be able to look and check and see what we are doing. Take another big breath in. And as you exhale, allow that air to pack down into your belly. Feel a nice engagement through your core. Feel your shoulders start to firm against your body. If you're sitting on top of a block, you can start to squeeze your ankles in onto those blocks, getting a little bit of force, and then chin to chest. And remember, we're moving through mud or water, so we're moving slowly and with some effort. And then start to take your chin across your right collarbone, bringing it to stack over top of your shoulder, taking the gaze over to the right. And then start to drop your head backwards like you're trying to dump something out of your ear. And then start to lift up through the crown, still reaching the head back, but almost like you could make space between each one of your vertebrae as you circle around and start to dump whatever it is, the liquid, out of your left ear. And then chin comes to the chest, or chin comes to the shoulder. Chin scrapes down the left collarbone and comes back down to the chest. And then one more. Chin rolls over the right collarbone to stack over the shoulder, tipping the head back, dropping the water out of the ear, and then rolling the head back, taking the gaze up, up, up. Water drops out of the left ear. Chin stacks over left shoulder. Chin scrapes the collarbone and drop back down to the chest. And then we're just gonna tip-tack back the other way. So chin scrapes up the left collarbone to stack over the shoulder. Drop the water out of the ear. Reach the head backwards, take the gaze up, roll around. Water drops out of right ear. Chin on top of right shoulder. Chin scrapes the collarbone down to the chest. And one more. Chin over shoulder. Drop the liquid. Roll the head back. Roll over. Right ear drops liquid. Chin over shoulder. Chin down the collarbone and into the chest. Lift the head back up. Good. And you might have noticed I was squeezing my hands, making fists with my hands, just trying to irradiate all that energy without too much force into the neck, because we know that the neck can be sensitive, a sensitive area. Okay, so we're gonna move on to we're gonna do the back now. We'll do the shoulders after. So what I want you to do is you can either make those fists and cross them over your body, or you can hold on to your shoulders. And we're gonna take this in a tall kneeling position. So I want you to, this is gonna feel kind of like an ab workout. So we're just gonna start, you're gonna take a breath in, and a breath out, pack everything down, engage the entire body, start to irradiate, bring the chin down to the chest, and then start to round over. You're not rounding too much. You want to keep your hips stable, like it's a statue, from the bottom half of your body down. And then you're going to start to rotate the arms to the right as much as you can. When you can't rotate anymore, you're going to start to bend into the left side or right side. Let the left side open. And then again, starting to move the shoulders back in space, keeping the hips stable, reaching up, 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 taking the gaze up. And then again, bending, closing off the left side, opening the right, and rotating back to center. One more time. Rotate to the right, bend, closing the right side off, lifting the chest back up, taking that little back bend like you reach up and over a beach ball that's behind you. And then bending to the left, rotate, and come back around to center. And again, this should feel effortful. You might be getting warm, you might be breaking a sweat. So again, we're gonna tick-tock back the other way. Start to rotate to the left, close the left side off, open the right. Start to bend backwards, back bending, reaching up and over that beach ball, finding space between the vertebrae. And then lateral bend, closing the right side, rotate back down, and come back through center. One more time. Rotate, bend, back bend, side bend to the right, rotate back down, and back through center. Good job. You can let it go, maybe shake it out. Maybe come back down to a seat. And then moving on to our shoulders. We're gonna start, make a fist with your left hand and go ahead and place it like right onto your rib cage. And this is just to check and see, to make sure that we're not flaring our ribs in any direction. I like to take this in a taller kneeling position. But if you have space, like your arms are not just brushing the ground in a low kneeling position, you can do that too. So again, we're gonna start, take that big breath in, big breath out, pack the air down. Good. Start to turn your right arm out to the right, so externally rotating the arm, and then cross it over the midline of your body. Remember, the rest of our body is a statue. Keep the left hand in a fist. And then start to take your right arm above your head. Keep facing the palm backwards. And then when you hit that wall, you can't move anymore, start to internally rotate. So turning from the shoulder, letting the thumb come towards you. And then start to reach your arm back behind you. And then bring it to the back of your thigh. And then keeping your hand exactly how it is, start to press back like you're high-fiving the wall behind you. And then once you find that wall where you can't move anymore, start to externally rotate. Turn the thumb out. Make sure the movement's coming from the shoulder. Start to reach the arm back up over your head. And then bring it down across in front of your body and back to its starting position. One more time. Palm flips out, thumb flips out, externally rotate, cross in front of you, reach up, 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 above your head, internally rotate, and press the hand back behind you, making that big circle, and then pushing the wall back behind you, Externally rotate, flip back the other way. Reach the arm back up above your head, and then come back across your body and back to your starting position. Right away, moving on to the other side. Take the right hand in front of your rib cage, make that fist. Left arm, left hand flips out. Make sure you're moving from the shoulder. Cross the arm and cross your center line. Reach the arm above your head. Start to internally rotate, turning the thumb outwards, letting that circle you back around, coming to touch the back of your thigh, and then press the hand back. Externally rotate, bring the arm back up above you, cross it in front of you, back to your starting. One more time, cross the arm, reach it above you, and internally rotate, swing it back, not swing, effort and intention. High five the wall behind you, externally rotate, bring the arm up and around and back to your starting. Good job. And this you can take, if you were in tall kneeling, you can come back down to a low kneeling or back onto your bottom. You're gonna make two fists, bring them in front of you. They're gonna be a little bit elevated above your shoulder. And I want you to take them wide, like in a V shape. And I want you to imagine that your fist, or you could actually use a table here. I want you to imagine that your fists are sitting on top of a table. So they're gonna stay pretty much where they are. There will be some movement there, but if you have a table to use where you could just slide your hands across, that could be very helpful. Okay, so we're gonna start by taking our breath. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Pack the muscles down. Start to bring shoulders up by the ears. And then draw them into your back like you could squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades, and then to press them down. Let them come down into those back pockets, and then reach them forward, protract. And again, one more. Shoulders up into the ears, retract, shoulders into your back, deep press, shoulders down, protract, shoulders forward. And then we're gonna reverse that movement. So we're gonna start from protraction, depression, shoulders down, retraction, shoulders back, and up into your ears. Protract, depress, retract, elevation, and protraction. Good job. You can let those arms go. Your muscles might be really feeling it now. You might be really breaking a sweat at this point. Okay, so then we're gonna move on to our hips. So we're gonna come side lying. And I want you to keep your knees bent into your chest. And again, you can place that block behind your back. So that way, if it falls over, you know that you're moving around too much. You can, if you have another block or even a pillow, place your head onto this block and maybe squeeze it, or you can have your hands and fists right out in front of you, squeezing your hands to irradiate that energy. So knees are about 90 degrees. There's about a 90-degree angle from the hips and then from the knees. Okay, so let's begin. Take a breath in and a breath out. Start by bringing the right knee, the top knee, into your chest. And then start to externally rotate. So turning your right knee out to the side, like you could bring your right ankle and stack it over top of your left knee. And then start to extend it out to the side, opening up. When you can't move anymore, start to internally rotate, turning that knee inwards, letting the outer of the right heel click up. And then start to kick your leg backwards. And then bring it back, and that's just half a round. So you're gonna start to kick the foot backwards, extending the leg, and then externally rotating the hip, bringing it up and back around, making these big circles, and then coming to where you might be able to stack ankle over left knee, and then back to your starting position. One more time. Flex the knee into chest. Externally rotate. Abduct. Internally rotate. Extend, press back. Back to your starting point, but then kick back. Externally rotate. Come back around. And starting position. Good job. We're just going to switch. So you might be able to just roll over. I'm going to switch sides so that way you can continue to see me. And again, we start. Left knee, top knee. Breathe in. Breathe out. Flex knee into chest. Externally rotate, seeing if you could place that left heel, left ankle on top of your right knee. Abduct. Internally rotate, making these big, big, big circles. Make it feel effortful. Start to kick backwards, extending. And then bring it towards neutral. And kick back. And externally rotate. Bring it up, back around. Heel comes to the knee. And then starting point. And one more. Flex knee. Externally rotate. Abduct. Internally rotate. Kick back. Find neutral. Then right away, kick back again. Externally rotate. Flip it all the way back around. Find your starting point. Good job. And finally, we're gonna do some hip, or some knee, and some ankle. So we're gonna start in a seated position. You could take this all the way onto the floor if you would like. I kind of like to prop myself up a little bit. So we're gonna start with the right side. And you're just gonna start by holding onto the bottom of your leg. Now you could hold it just with your hands, or you could hug it in tight to your body, your choice here. And we're just gonna do a few of these. So start by turning your toes in and clicking your heel outwards. And I want you to feel, maybe place a hand over top of your knee so you can really feel that movement happening up here. You'll feel the bones. And then start to open. You won't get this leg all the way to straight, I promise. And then start to turn out the toes, click the heel in, and come back down. And we're just gonna reverse that movement. Lift the foot back up, extending the knee, and then turning toes, coming back down. And that's all we're due for this one. If you want to keep going with that, obviously you have the option to do so. We're just gonna switch sides. So coming to your left side, placing a hand over top of your knee, clicking the toes in and the heels out, and then lift the foot up. Turn the toes out, heel clicks in, bring the heel back down. And again, open up, turn the toes, and close. And then moving on to our ankles, picking up the right leg. Start to gas pedal the foot down, you know how like when you press on your gas pedal, and then let the toes start to point. Turn the toes in, and then reach them up, and then out to the right, and then again back down. And just moving through that complete circle, like you could scrape out the bottom of a cookie bowl or that brownie batter, and then switching, tick-tocking back the other way. And your knee will move a little bit, and that's okay. And then let's move on to the left side. Just switching. And again, gas pedal down. Turn the toes inwards and then start to point them up, up, up. Reach them out, out, out. Turning the ankle, gas pedaling back down. And one more time around this way. Good, and then just switch sides. Or switch directions. Good. And then moving on to our toes. And I just remembered that we forgot to do our wrists. So after we do our toes, we're gonna do the wrists. So I want you to be in a position where you can see your toes. Whether that means you're up onto a chair, you're sitting up onto a block, whatever is going to lift you up enough to give you that visual of your feet. And then I want you to imagine that you either have Legos or a thumbtack in the inner arch and the outer arch of your foot to keep you from moving too far in or out. Okay, so finding that stability. Take a breath in and a breath out. Good. Start to pick all 10 of your toes up off the mat, off the ground. Try to spread them out as much as you can without the arches collapsing in either direction, and then set the toes back down. And then big toes, focus on the big toes. We're gonna start to pick the toes up off of the ground and then set them back down and just tap them up and down a couple of times. Good. And then now we're gonna focus on the other 4 toes on the foot. So leaving those big toes down, start to pick the other 4 toes up. Try to keep them spread. Try not to collapse in the arches, and then set them back down. You might be feeling some cramps in your feet. That's normal. And try to pick them back up and back down. And one more time, pick them up and back down. Good. Start to lift all 10 of the toes up again, spreading them out nice and wide, and then see if you can piano key them. Tap them down one at a time, starting with the pinky toes. Slowly, slowly, slowly. See if you can do them one at a time. Good. And then last but not least, the wrists. You can have your hands and fists or have your hands flat out, but I want the palms to face up towards the ceiling, whichever way you choose. You could also do these one at a time. I'm just gonna go ahead and do them both at once. Start to bend your fingers in towards each other, just moving the wrist. And then start to turn the fingers down towards the ground, and then bending them out to the right. You can keep those elbows hugged in, and then start to bring them up in towards your face and back around, trying to keep the forearms flat. It can be difficult. Turning them up and around. And then we're just gonna go back in the other direction. So starting in that same starting position, start to turn the fingertips out. And then bring them up, or bring them down, sorry, switching directions, turning them in, and then up, and then out, and down, and back around. Good. And that is our total body cars. So I hope that your joints feel a little bit better after doing this. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Feel free to come back to this video at any time